Ethan Walker never imagined that an ordinary Thursday afternoon would become one of the most emotionally charged moments of his life. What began as a simple visit to his grandmother's cozy home in Oregon meant to help prepare for a local fundraiser quietly unfolded into something far more unexpected. When he stepped inside, he found Claire Dawson already there. His grandmother's longtime friend stood near a stack of boxes, carefully sorting decorations, a familiar gentle smile resting on her face. It was the same smile that lingered in Ethan's thoughts more often than he liked to admit. There had always been something about Claire, her calm presence, the way she seemed untouched by the rush of the world. Her warm eyes, her steady confidence, her soothing voice all had a way of softening whatever space she occupied. They greeted each other easily. Ethan smiled, and Claire answered with a soft laugh that felt immediately familiar, almost comforting. For a while everything felt normal, peaceful even. Then his grandmother stepped outside to take a phone call, leaving the two of them alone in the living room. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, bathing the room in a warm, golden glow. As they sorted through decorations, Claire laughed at herself, joking about being terrible at crafts. Ethan laughed with her, enjoying the lightness of the moment, until he heard the faint sound of a slip. He looked up just in time to see her foot twist against the edge of a loose rug. Claire gasped softly. Instinct took over before thought could catch up. Ethan moved forward, catching her just as she lost her balance. Her knees buckled, and he steadied her against the wall. "It's okay. I've got you," he said, forcing calm into his voice. She tried to put weight on her foot and immediately winced. Without thinking, he held her closer, making sure she wouldn't fall again. "I can't move yet," she whispered. The words were simple, but the tone changed everything. The space between them suddenly felt intimate, charged in a way Ethan hadn't expected. He became acutely aware of her warmth, the softness of her breath against his neck. Claire's cheeks flushed, her eyes dropping shyly, yet she didn't pull away. She stayed close, vulnerable in a way he'd never seen before. He reassured her again and again, telling her she wasn't a burden, that he was glad he was there. When she tried once more to stand, her ankle betrayed her again. Instinctively, she grabbed his shirt, pulling him just slightly closer. The contact sent a quiet rush through him, not dramatic, not overwhelming, just deeply real. "Lean on me," he said softly. "It's okay." She relaxed into his support, fingers still clutching his shirt. Her eyes lifted to meet his, hesitant but trusting. Time seemed to stretch. Every shared breath, every careful movement made the ordinary living room feel suspended in a private, fragile moment. Slowly, carefully, he guided her toward the sofa. Step by step, she held onto his arms, cautious but steady. He adjusted his grip constantly, pausing whenever she needed, making sure she was comfortable. The care between them felt heavier than he expected. Delicate, intimate, and sincere. Once she was seated, Claire tried to hide her embarrassment, brushing her hair back and smoothing her blouse. A faint pink lingered on her cheeks. Her eyes were soft, filled with gratitude, and something else Ethan had never allowed himself to acknowledge before. The silence stretched, unhurried and full. Claire admitted she didn't like depending on others. Life had taught her to handle things on her own. Ethan gently reminded her that leaning on someone didn't weaken her, that needing help didn't take away her strength. She smiled wistfully and told him she admired the way he cared for his grandmother without hesitation. He shrugged it off at first, but she insisted it mattered. They sat together in quiet understanding, the moment comfortable yet charged with something unspoken. Claire's gaze kept returning to his. Soft, appreciative, open in a way she rarely allowed. She spoke about how life could surprise you, how closeness sometimes appeared without warning. Ethan felt the truth of her words settle deeply inside him. When his grandmother returned with a first aid kit and later an ice pack, the practical details took over. Yet the air between Ethan and Claire had changed. Something lingered, warm, Unspoken and quietly undeniable. Every glance carried memory. Every subtle gesture echoed the closeness they'd shared. Claire reassured everyone she was fine, but Ethan noticed the careful way she moved, the tension she tried to hide, and the shy gratitude in her eyes when they met his. Each small interaction, the way she rested a hand on his arm for balance, the gentle breaths, the fleeting touches, wove an unspoken bond neither of them could ignore. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was a connection formed through care, vulnerability, and a moment of simple human closeness, one that neither of them would forget.